I tried to propose to my girlfriend on vacation, but she stopped me mid-proposal because it wasn't what she expected, and now I don't know if our relationship can recover from this. For context, my girlfriend, 21F, and I, 21M, have been together for 6 years, and over Thanksgiving weekend I took her on a week-long trip to Hawaii with the intention of proposing to her. I even asked her parents for their blessing and showed them the ring a couple days before we left for the trip. We have talked about marriage before and we've both agreed that we want to marry each other, so the idea of it is nothing new and actually a pretty frequent topic. The issue is that she wanted a grand wedding proposal similar to the ones you might see on TikTok or Instagram. Big marry me letters on the beach, rose petals on the ground, lights, mariachi, etc. I was absolutely on board on doing that for her if it made her happy, but that was something to be planned at a beach back at home since I wouldn't have the resources to plan it for a trip to somewhere we've never been, especially because we booked everything as a last-minute vacation just 5 days prior, ironically after she sent me videos of people vacationing in Hawaii. I believed this would be a great opportunity though. I planned to propose to her on the day we arrived. I carried the ring in my pocket all day waiting for a good opportunity to ask her, knowing it wasn't going to be a grand proposal like she had hoped, but I thought because of the circumstances she would be happy. However, we had some completely unnecessary arguments and I decided to postpone because I didn't want to do it after a bitter day. Second day there, we had booked a reservation to go parasailing. I didn't want to risk losing the ring, so I left it back at the hotel. We didn't get back to the hotel until around 5 p.m. and we started getting ready to go back out in the city. By this time it was already starting to get dark. She said before that she would want a sunset proposal, and knowing that I couldn't organize any of the other things she had in mind for a proposal, the sunset was the only thing I had. I missed my chance on that, but we still went out to dinner and drinks. We came back to the hotel afterwards because she was tired. I was too. It was an eventful day. I let her rest for a bit and around 10:30 I convinced her to go on a night walk with me at the beach. This was when I planned to propose to her. We got to the beach, the city was very much still awake and the lights of the buildings and streets combined with the bright moon illuminated the ocean beautifully. We stood there hugging and kissing, both knowing it was a beautiful and intimate moment. I started telling her how much I love her and how I want to be with her my entire life, etc. As I started to get on my knee and reaching my pocket for the ring, she stopped me and said, "I hope you're not about to propose to me right now. This isn't what I expected." My heart dropped. I got back up and stood speechless before starting to walk back to the hotel. I was in no mood to talk about the situation and told her we should talk about it tomorrow. We talked about it the next day and she insists on me doing it again, but this time the right way during sunset. I tell her I can't do that because she rejected me already. She tells me she didn't reject it, just simply it wasn't how she would have wanted it to happen. We spent the next 4 days in Hawaii in a very tense state, but we had to deal with it until we got back home. We lived together and for the first night she went to sleep with her parents. Now she came back but I don't want to be home with her there. What can be the outcome of the situation? I obviously didn't want this to happen during our vacation, but I can't see it other way. Is this a valid reason for me not wanting to be with her anymore? I also don't think it's right for me to redo the proposal. First update, next day, so we had another conversation about it once she came back home from her parents. She's still adamant that I failed to meet her expectations. Admittedly, I understand I didn't do any of the things she had visualized it to be. I want to emphasize that we're young, and the proposals she's seen on social media are nothing but trends. These proposals have become popular in maybe the last year or two. Prior to that she's told me that she wants an intimate proposal and especially away from the public. People are telling me I'm wrong because I knew exactly what she wanted and didn't do it. She also tells me that a proposal is solely about the female and what she wants. I think that's bull crap. I know I've told her that I was on board on doing her fantasy proposal, yet I changed my mind about that. I didn't want to plan this huge thing at my hometown beach just for the spectacle of it. I preferred to do it in a way I knew we'd both enjoy. In Hawaii especially. Something that really bugs me is she says that I made the trip seem like just another trip, nothing crazy or out of the ordinary. This is literally our first ever vacation flight together. The same night that happened, we had brunch, went parasailing, and had a wonderful teppanyaki dinner. Am I selfish for changing the whole proposal up without consulting her? I don't understand why some people say I'm selfish for not doing what she wanted. I still did something that objectively should make any woman ecstatic. I think my focus now is shifting from wondering if it's okay for me to break up with her for turning me down, to wanting to break up for her ungratefulness in general. Another reason why she said it wasn't up to her expectations was because we were both dressed casually. She wanted me to give her prior notice that something special was going to happen by telling her to get glammed up. Note, to the people asking why I couldn't propose the next day at sunset, another requirement for her proposal was for her dog to be there, which she told me that same minute after telling me it's not what she expected. She absolutely adores this dog and has always told me she wants him to be ring bearer at our wedding. Sure thing, if it makes her happy I really don't mind. Issue is she also wanted that to be the case for the proposal, which I was absolutely unaware of, and obviously we didn't take the dog with us. She was just too focused on how she wanted the proposal rather than just being excited about being with me. Relevant comment, so you're both 21, and been together for 6 years. So you started dating at 15? How long have y'all been living together? I'm not a fan of the idea of putting arbitrary timelines on things like relationships, but living together is definitely an important milestone. So is traveling, trips, and vacations. OP, yes, we started dating at 15. Around 17 she had an accident at her house and it ended up burning down. Her parents couldn't find a place nearby so they ended up moving away and I told her she can stay with me until we finish high school. She stayed and lived with me at my parents' until about 6 months ago when we moved out on our own. Final update, 2 days after the original post, we had the breakup talk. My girlfriend has always been a bit self-centered. I've known that and have been able to put up with it. About 4 months ago she started having therapy sessions. I don't know how long they last, what days they are, or what they talk about. I do know that she has become an entirely different person. She's been more compassionate and cooperative with me, the things I've always wished for her to be more, and this caused me to be fully ready to commit to a life with her, hoping this new mentality is permanent. Anyway, she talked to her therapist and told me that she asked her one question: do you like surprises? She tells her of course she does. She explains to her that as her boyfriend, I most likely know that, and was trying to do something heartfelt and unscripted. No mariachi, glamorous dress or big letters, just us two. She further tells her that if she truly felt in her heart that she wants to live a life with me, all of the other superficial stuff shouldn't matter. She's apologizing to me, telling me she really regrets doing that and assuring me she would have said yes anyway. My biggest regret is I'll never really know what she would have said, though in my gut I'm not 100% sure she would have said yes. Her first thoughts when that was happening was completely dismissive of me and disrespectful, something that for once I feel like I can't take anymore. I'm standing my ground, telling her I've swallowed my pride way too many times in the past, and we should go through with it. I'll be sleeping on the couch, she'll be packing her things tomorrow and going to live with her parents. Top commenter: hey buddy, you know how some women can feel uncomfortable with public proposals? Maybe a similar kind of vulnerability applies in reverse here. I understand the initial frustration, and while I can get behind the surface level argument, when you mentioned she's been in therapy and working to better herself, I think it's worth pausing to give her the benefit of the doubt. Your relationship deserves at least that much. You made a commitment when you decided to propose, it wasn't a joke or a whim. Are you saying your resolve was so fragile that it couldn't weather the first major challenge? Let's be real, while it's nice to think your life partner would be happy with any proposal, that's not always how it plays out. When I proposed, I spent over a year planning it, but even then, the execution and style turned out completely different on the day. But guess what? I caught the sunset, and it was magical in its own way. You've had conversations about marriage and even discussed her ideal proposals. This isn't about pride, it's about recognizing the commitment you made and reflecting on whether you fell short of honoring it. Give her a real chance. Don't throw away the last 6 years over one moment that can be rebuilt. OP, thanks for the advice. I've told her that I appreciate her new mentality, and have praised her for working on herself. Like I've said, I've swallowed my pride way too many times with her in the past. Our relationship has been toxic before, and in fact we've had several break periods. We've been good for a while now, but it gets to the point where it almost seems like it'll always repeat. This was the final straw for me. I know we've been together for a while now, especially for our age, but one thing I can't get past is that we're still so young it almost feels like it just wasn't meant to be. I still feel very guilty about the whole thing. Top commenter then says, if you call the last straw a marriage proposal, then I think it's not a good foundation to be married.